Welcome. I'm Ariel Fries, and welcome to the Counselor Chronicles. Today we have with us Becky Newquist. Becky, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and Becky is with Bethel Counseling, and you are here today to talk to those parents who have very intelligent, very capable kids, but find that they're maybe lacking motivation or just not excelling in the way they used to.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
So in my practice, I work with a lot of high-achieving, high-performance kids, or at least typically have been. And I get a lot of phone calls from parents who are surprised that all of a sudden their really high-performing kids are struggling, aren't turning in their homework, aren't studying for tests, and all of a sudden they're seeing their grades drop. And so they ask how they can help them. It seems like their strategies are not helping anymore. And I try to focus on two specific tips off the bat to help parents have some accessible strategies. The first tip is that for a high-achieving kid, their validation, their kind of sense of worth and value has been reinforced by their outcomes. When they get A's, they get praised. When they make the Honor Society, they get a medal or some sort of plaque. And so they start to associate their value with the outcomes that they achieve and their success. And so one of the things that's helpful for parents to start doing is to veer away from just focusing on, great job getting that A, or I'm so proud of you for getting into yet another Honor Society, and focusing more on the process that they're involved in. I'm so proud of you for studying so hard last night. I noticed that you were, at the library all day, or I noticed that you stayed after to ask your teacher for help. When we praise those things, we're praising the child or adolescent's flexibility, adaptability, and growth. And that's something that's going to carry on with them no matter what challenges they face. When we notice that they're struggling, to ask questions about the process, not why did you get that F, or why didn't you, you didn't study, you're grounded, so just focusing on the outcome and not exploring the process. We can ask questions like, what are the classes that you seem to really enjoy and be motivated by? What is it about the teacher's style? What is it about the environment in the classroom that makes it motivating? And what are the classrooms or environments that make it really hard to learn or be motivated to want to study? And when we can identify what those environments or the teaching style is that might be more challenging, we can problem solve some things. And that leads me to my next tip, that sometimes there's things to problem solve, like how do I get along better with a teacher? How do I adapt to their teaching style? Maybe I need to get extra help. Maybe I need to learn some more time management skills. Those are all problem-solving techniques. But there might be some things that we can't change. Maybe it's a teacher that's really difficult or just doesn't jive with that child's personality. And this is a tool that parents can teach their kids, which is more emotion-focused coping skills instead of problem-solving skills. So when they go into a classroom and maybe they say, I just feel anxious when I get in there because the teacher is just really gruff and intimidating, or they grade really hard, and so then I start to kind of shut down. Instead of, there's not much we can problem solve about that teacher's personality, but parents can give their kids some helpful tools around deep breathing, talking to a friend, some mindfulness strategies, and mindfulness is a whole nother realm of tools to help students focus on bringing their mind back to the present moment, what they know they can do, and accepting what they can't do. It could be just asking for emotional support to get through the class, having some coping mechanisms like a stress relief ball, or actually have a student that has gotten permission to knit while she's in class, and that helps bring her anxiety down. So helping your child explore what are some emotion-focused coping strategies that might help me get through a situation that I can't change. And I find that when those two things are combined, that we focus on the process and we focus on differentiating between what can be problem solved and what can't, and integrating emotion-focused coping, kids are much more likely to be resilient and flexible when they face challenges, and much less likely to shut down when they fear evaluation that they can't achieve, or when they fear that the outcomes aren't going to be there to reinforce the value that they need. So those are two strategies that seem to be effective when parents give them a try, and they're pretty easily accessible. And I've got a lot of other kind of sub-examples of tools and strategies within those categories that I spend time with parents going into to further help their kids.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Becky.
You're welcome.
Can you speak just in the last couple minutes to, when a child learns these skills to focus more on the process rather than the outcomes? You said they can become more resilient, they can become more flexible. How does that help them in the future when they go off and into the adult world?
Great. Good question. So for only 12 years are kids evaluated, or maybe more, actually it should be more if they go to college, by A's and B's, or grades on a percentage scale. And that shapes this kind of relationship with motivation to external rewards, and again, the outcomes. And so once kids get past college, grad school, and into the working world, there's not as much of an immediate external reward or outcome for motivation and hard work, especially entrepreneurs, or people that are starting their own venture. May not get paid for a really long time. What's going to keep them motivated? Outside of the working world or academia, relationships. We're not going to get every day, you're a great husband, you're a great wife, you're a great mom. But looking at the process of what it takes, what kind of person I want to be in the process, and I'm proud of that person that I'm being, and I'm motivated by the values of what's important to me instead of I'm motivated by what the outcome's going to be. So I think it really helps to develop this resiliency in life, in relationships, in work, and in other challenges that they face, not just school.
That's awesome. And you were saying earlier that a lot of times when parents see their kids kind of backing off from activities or studying, there's like this desire to avoid those opportunities where one could be evaluated. And so I think that's super important I really liked that point that you made for parents to hear that that might be, if I'm going to put myself in a place where I can be evaluated and I don't want to be,
right,
I'm just not going to put myself out there.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest reasons that I see kids stop turning in their homework and stop studying. It just doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Like, why would you just not turn it in? You did it, but you didn't turn it in. That makes no sense. And it largely has to do with, well, it's better to not turn it in at all and get a 0 than to turn it in and get, a poor grade, because then that reflects bad on my either intelligence, my knowledge, my effort. So I'd rather just say I just forgot to do it or didn't turn it in.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for these tips.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thanks for being here.
Mm-hmm.